This story comes from the pages of Eddie Brock Carnage Issue number 1. Please support the official release. As always, I also wanted to let you guys know that our superhero training program is live. If you're ready to get your confidence back and finally get in the superhero shape you've always dreamed of, you can contact me in the consultation form in the video description below. We can hop on a call and discuss your fitness goals and nerd out about comics. What's there not to love? Roll the music. The story opens where we see this world's Eddie Brock aboard a plane, who was rather solemn yet determined at the fact that he was quickly going to have to kill someone aboard the craft. He would hear voices in his head. However, this was not the usual voice of our favorite symbiote Venom. This was different. This was darker. This was the Carnage symbiote, who had come to bond with Brock and was growing rather impatient, for he wanted blood, and he wanted it now. His struggle with the alien even caused Brock to startle a nearby woman where she spilled her water. Apologizing, we see Eddie take out a set of mysterious pills. He told the woman he wasn't feeling well, but whatever he had was not contagious. Munching on his meds, Eddie then received a text to his phone. It was from a person named Bailey. Here we discover that the person he was looking for on this plane was a serial killer, one who went by the name of Hopscotch, and Brock was here to stop them once and for all. Seeing as the killer could be literally anyone, Eddie opted to put his advanced detective skills to good use. These skills consisting of using the Carnage symbiote to enter the brains of each passenger to read their minds. Despite facially violating everyone aboard, Eddie and Carnage soon discovered that these people were innocent. None of them were the killer. Seeing as he had read everyone's mind aboard the flight, Eddie believed Carnage may be lying to him. That is, until he remembered the most important person on the plane, and that would be the pilot. Releasing the people from this hentai nightmare, Eddie made his way to the pilot's cabin, where he saw that the door was locked, which of course did not stop the man 1 second, where he tore the door apart and went to confront the killer, only for one more variable to be added to the equation, as he saw that there was both a pilot and a co-pilot. Wondering which one was the Hopscotch killer, Carnage opted for the simple solution, which would be to kill both men. Carnage, I am loving the enthusiasm here, but no. However, before Eddie could play the bloodiest match of Eeny Meeny Miny Mo yet, he was soon interrupted by a federal air marshal who told the man to stand down. Seeing how this was just his luck, as they only ever put air marshals on like 1 out of 100 flights, Eddie did not pay the woman any mind, where she warned him one final time before opening fire. Of course, a mere handgun would not be enough to stop the mighty Carnage, as we see its tendrils emerge from Eddie's back, immediately catching the bullet before it could strike its target. Having enough playing around, Eddie then transformed and told the pilots that he knew one of them was the killer, and that their reign of terror was finally over. While the pilot was genuinely shocked to see what was going on, we discover that the Hopscotch killer was the co-pilot, who brandished a knife, remarking that it was not quite over yet. Without hesitation, Hopscotch would then plunge his blade into the pilot's throat, instantly killing him. The air marshal would then open fire once more upon Eddie, where the symbiote would easily absorb the bullets and only act as a slight annoyance to the man, who said that he was kinda busy here. Well, dude, are you just gonna keep standing there looking cool, or are you gonna do something? I mean, you just got an innocent guy killed, man! Delivering a line of usual psycho crazy talk, Hopscotch would then reach into the plane's control panel and use his knife to cut the wiring within the craft, saying while he may have been caught, he and everyone else aboard will die with him. Seeing that this man just doomed all of these innocent people to their deaths, Eddie decided that enough was enough. Letting Carnage finally take control, we see Eddie brutally tear the killer to shreds, with he and the alien in unison, both agreeing that this felt good. With the plane's controls gone, we'd see the craft immediately begin to plummet to the earth, with Carnage believing this act of terrorism to be absolutely amazing. Ripping off the door, the alien told Eddie that it was time to go, where the man regained control and yelled at the beast, refusing to leave without saving the innocents aboard. In an absolutely ridiculous but awesome next scene, we'd see Brock's will overpower Carnage, where he'd grow crimson red dragon wings and fly through the skies as he'd carry each passenger in a giant red fleshy alien sack as the plane exploded into the mountains below them. Yo, take that, Homelander. Carnage is officially a better superhero than you. How does that make you feel? Despite his heroism, Eddie would soon feel Carnage's influence take over once more, where the demon would ask him how good it felt to kill Hopscotch, and how much better it would feel to kill all of these innocent passengers he had in his grasp. We'd then see Eddie awaken in a hotel room. Feeling rather refreshed, the man would sit up in bed, where he'd instantly be filled with pure fear. Having no memory of what happened to the plane's passengers, Eddie would immediately call Bailey from earlier in this story, who appeared to have her own podcast. He'd ask her what happened, where she was hoping he could tell her, as the plane was found completely destroyed, and the only bodies found were that of the pilot and the co-pilot. Bailey would ask if Hopscotch was aboard the plane, where Eddie would hang up and immediately confront Carnage, saying that it was time to talk face to face. Entering the dark reaches of the Mindscape, we'd see Brock confront a rather dapper Carnage, who told the man that he was here for whatever he needed. Eddie would then demand for the creature to tell him what happened to the plane's passengers. How did he get to this hotel, and why couldn't he remember? There was only one logical explanation behind this, and that would be the alien staring him in the face. Smiling at the man with its usual devilish grin, the alien would respond to this request with a resounding no. Royally ticked off, Eddie demanded for Carnage to tell him where the people were, where the creature could only laugh at the man, asking just what really could he threaten him with. The symbiote would then tell Eddie that it had delved deep within his mind, and he was quite the mystery. He was broke, his son hated him, and he was completely alone, but for some reason, he just kept on chugging along. He was all Eddie had, and that didn't need to be a bad thing. He needed a host, and Brock needed a way to tell himself he was a good person. And deep down, he knew Eddie loved the power. Here we discover that Eddie willingly allowed himself to bond with Carnage. He wanted to make the sacrifice of carrying the alien so nobody else would, all in the attempt to eventually control it. Part of the deal of their union was that Carnage would still get to kill. However, it would only be serial killers, something that Carnage would agree to if that soothed Eddie's little baby conscience. After all, it didn't matter to him who he slaughtered. A kill was a kill. Brock would then argue back, saying that innocent people were not part of this deal, and once more demanded to know where the flight passengers were, and how did Carnage blank his memory. The adamant monster would again refuse to tell his secrets, and was rather insulted that Brock would even ask for this revelation. Did he not expect their union to get bloody? After all, they were Carnage. Having enough with the small talk, Carnage said that it was time to kill their next killer. Except this time he wanted a challenge. Someone with powers. as he was basically conducting creepy parasite job interviews and wanted to find the strongest person he could find so he could potentially bond with them. Eddie would ask just who Carnage had in mind, where we'd see the monster had quite the list of powerful foes, ranging from Hela all the way to even Galactus, where the beast asked Eddie just who they should kill first.